live
We're
again.
back.
Hi, everyone. So sorry about our technical difficulties. Let us know if you can hear us now. I think we should be good to go, but we're just going to start the interview over. So if you missed anything, but before we get started, just want to make sure that you can hear us okay. So if you are on, let us know if you can hear us okay. We had about 6 people on, so
Okay.
we'll see if they hop on here, but hopefully you guys can hear us now. Okay, I see about 4 people on. Can you guys hear us okay? Let us know. Say hi when you join us. But yeah, take 2. We're going to try again. Okay.
Well, I can hear you okay, so I'm sure
You
they
can hear
can.
me okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can hear you. Yay! Okay.
Great.
I can
Okay.
hear. I can hear now. No static. Yay! I know there's a lot of static. All right. Hopefully we're good now. All right. Awesome. All right. Cool. So thank you guys for joining us. If you missed it before, you're just joining. I'm here with my friend Rich, and he's going to talk about his plant-based story from going from obese to athlete. So we're going to hear from him. And at the end, if you guys have any questions, you can also ask your questions here as well. If you did miss it as well, make sure to click the link above to allow StreamYard to see your name in the comments. But we'll get started. All right, awesome.
Good.
So, Rich, tell us about yourself.
Okay.
Or introduce yourself to everyone.
Sure. I'm from Connecticut. I went to school for art and design in New York at Pratt Institute. I became a webmaster, and as a result of that, I have a desk job. So that's contributed to how I got to be morbidly obese 8 years ago. I ended up doing a lifestyle change, going plant-based and eventually vegan. And over the course of time, I lost 150 pounds. And I became a runner as well, plant-based athlete, and I feel great. So
Yeah.
let's just give you a quick summary.
Awesome. And when did it all start? When did you decide to be plant-based?
It really started in January 2012 when I had my first physical in years. I hadn't seen a doctor in God knows how long. It's been years. My doctor long since retired. And the reason I went to the doctor is because it was a requirement for the state of Connecticut. They changed the requirements for insurance. And unless you wanted to pay a higher premium, you had to get a physical and certain, requirements. They had cholesterol checked every couple of years and different things. So I was really starting over with all the requirements. I never had anything checked before this. So I went to my first appointment, scared to death because I didn't know what to expect. And the doctor told me that first appointment that I was morbidly obese, which scared me to death. I never cared for that term, and I never applied it to myself, even though I knew I was heavy. And to hear a doctor say that really woke me up. And the next thing he told me, I never thought it would be a problem, but he told me I had high blood pressure. Now, it is in my family, but I just, I never thought, I was in my 30s, and I never thought I would have blood pressure issues. Something you just don't think about. So that was a wake-up call, and he told me by the next appointment that the blood pressure wasn't down, he was going to put me on meds. So I began to do research even after that first appointment, but still nothing worked. Because the next appointment, my blood pressure is still abnormally high. So he told me, I have to go on meds. So he wrote out the script. I went to my local CVS, filled the prescription, and I read the side effects. And I remember telling my mom, who's a nurse, that I didn't really want to go on meds. And she says, well, everybody's on meds. What's the big deal? you know, she comes from the standpoint that she's a nurse, she just on meds, and you know, she thinks everybody's on something, so it's not a big deal. But I had this, I don't know where it came from. I had this, I think it was just a stubborn streak inside me that I did not want to go on meds, even though my mom, my dad, my stepmom, they're all on meds. My dad was probably on 10 different meds, and I just didn't want to, you know, be like that. So I read the side effects, like I said, and you know, that was a wake-up call. I didn't like the side effects. I called up the doctor and asked if he would agree if I did a lifestyle change and lost some weight, could I hold off on the meds? And he gave me 6 months to do it. And within that 6 months, I completely reversed my hypertension. My weight was starting to fall off. And he never thought I'd be able to do it. So I totally amazed him. I amazed myself too, because I didn't know how far I could take this either. So within that first year, I lost 120 of the 150-pound weight loss. So it took me about 11, 12 months to do it. And I got to give big credit to Dr. Furman, because in April of 2012, I called in Dr. Oz, and he was talking about the G-BOMBS foods. And for those who don't know, it's greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, and seeds. Now, I do follow other plant-based doctors since then, but those are my main go-to foods every day still. But you know, I follow Dr. Greger and Esselstyn and all of them really, but Dr. Furman really woke me up. I guess because I found him first, maybe that's why I favored his advice. But anyway, yeah, here I am, and so 8 years later, and I kept it off.
Yeah, that's so awesome. So, most of the information that you learned then was really yourself, right? From
Yes.
the internet and books.
Yeah, the internet. The internet was a huge help to me, especially that first year, because I remember Googling about what foods lower blood pressure, what foods do you need to eliminate. And one of the first foods I eliminated was red meat, because I read that it could cause blood pressure problems.
Mm-hmm.
And then I gave up aspartame, you know, for the same reasons that, you know, it's all due to what will help, you know, lower blood pressure. So it was I did all this in stages, but I think because at the speed I was going, I wasn't going too fast with my changes. That I think I didn't have extreme cravings after I gave them up, because I think I gave my body enough time to adjust each time. And I know everybody's different. Some people can go in, you know, cold turkey, and I think that's great if you could do that. But for me, it was stages.
Great. Yeah. So tell us more about that. How that, like, what that looked like, and you know, your transition. Yeah. Like, did you go? You know, you said stages. So did you eat more? You know, maybe those processed vegan foods, and then kind of shift to more whole foods, or
No,
what did that look like?
Not so much processed. Well, yeah, I got to admit, I did have like breakfast cereals. So I did give up those, but for the most part, I wasn't having too many processed foods after 2012. But it was mostly just eliminating foods as I went along. Processed foods were really the first thing to go. If it's something had more than 4 or 5 ingredients, you know, I didn't have it anymore. Although there were times during 2012 that I broke my habits. Like I remember a coworker, I wrote about this in my book. He gave me the rest of the bag of potato chips that he had, and I remember eating them, and I had the worst headache afterwards. And I attributed that to the chips I was eating, because you know, I don't suffer from headaches anymore, and I used to prior to 2012. And imagine I got a headache almost instantly after eating the chips. So you know, different wake-up calls like that, you know, stop me from having processed foods.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I would say the big thing the first year was getting rid of the processed foods, and then gradually I would give up more and more things. But I think I was focused on whole foods that first year. You know.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
It's really, really great.
But the thing that wasn't good about my diet for those first 4 years, yes, I lost the weight, but you know, this came with education. You know, hearing plant-based doctors, I was still eating things like yogurt and turkey, and I eventually became ethical vegan as well. So you know, giving up those foods helped me do that. But you know, I didn't realize at the time that those foods were unhealthy. I was like, probably your typical American, they think you need the protein, and you know, I thought I was doing my body good, that the turkey was the better choice. But you know, I'm so glad I gave those up.
So awesome. Cool. So through kind of going plant-based then, right, that was, at first it was just mostly health. So it sounds like that's kind of shifted and more towards realizing the benefit, right, to animals.
Right.
Sounds like.
Yeah, I did. The interesting thing I wrote about in my book, I think even as a kid, I wanted to be vegan, but I didn't have the support from the community and the family, and nobody understood it. And so I just think it in the back of my mind, even as a little kid, I wanted to be vegan. So I used to feel bad. I wrote about how my dad took me on a fishing trip once, and as a kid, and I felt so bad for the fish squirming. And so I never bothered to eat fish, but yet I ate other animal products. And so somehow I wanted to be vegan, but couldn't until I made the lifestyle change to plant-based.
Yeah, cool. Now tell us more about the support then that you did have. Did you have any support from, you know, your family, you know, now, like after kind of all those years went by and finally made that change?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that, because I did have a support team when I started. I belonged to a local Y back then, and they had wellness challenges. So I did about like 3 or 4 of them, and we were in teams of 4. And my group worked so hard, and we came in first. And of course, I had the most weight loss. That surprised me with how much weight I lost. And we all pulled together. For them, though, the difference was it was all about losing weight. For me, even back then, it was about health. Every time I tried to lose weight before then, and it wasn't about health, I didn't lose weight. It was once I made the decision that it was about health, then everything else fell into place. But it was great having that support group. Yeah, that's why I like this running group too, because you know, it's just great to have support whenever you have questions, you know, and you know, someone else in the community can help. So yeah, I got to give a shout out to them, and also different family members eventually came on board. My mom, she's mostly plant-based now as well, and she reversed her diabetes for the most part, and I'm kind of proud of that too, because you know, I think I influenced someone else. My dad and stepmom, they're stubborn and they're omnivores for life. You could only do so much influence for people, but yeah, my stepmom, she's a big meat eater, and she goes to those game dinners, and so she really don't get my lifestyle at all. But that's okay. I mean, yeah, I'm very open with everybody. When I first went vegan, which I should mention, that happened in 2016, why I went vegan. But when I went vegan, I was ashamed to admit to people at first, like it was something to be ashamed of. Probably from what I remember when I was a kid, that you know, vegans were like freaks or something back then. So I did a 13-week challenge with Robert Cheek. I don't know if everybody's familiar with him, but he's a vegan bodybuilder. I was trying to tighten my loose skin. I had a lot of loose skin, especially around my abs. So I was trying to build muscle, and I came across Robert Cheek. and he had a no meat, no problem shirt, which I bought, and he had a 13-week journal based on his Shred It book. So I decided I'm going to do a 13-week vegan challenge. And I'm going to wear a shirt to the gym just to tell people I'm doing this 13-week challenge. And I saw I was getting results. I was building more muscle, interestingly, 100% plant-based than I ever did when I was eating minimal animal products. So the good thing about people watching my journey during the 13 weeks, they knew I was doing a vegan challenge for 13 weeks. So if I failed, it was on me, and they would brag that veganism doesn't work and whatever. But that's why I did it. I wanted to prove that it worked, and it did. And I'm hoping I inspired others at the gym, although I don't think too many were willing to try it. But anyway, yeah, I'm proud of it, and I still wear to this day vegan shirts to the gym. It's just something I feel I have to do.
Yeah, absolutely. You can inspire so many people. Now, how did you get into the running aspect of it? Tell us more about that.
Yeah, I was invited into it. There's a group called Missing Chin's Run Club. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's a private group for especially obese men who want to try a plant-based diet. And you have to be invited into the group, and somebody invited me in. And I saw all these runners who were well over 300 pounds. You might know some of the names: Josh Lajani, Tim Coughlin, Anthony Masello. I don't know if any of the names sound familiar, but anyway, they were all 300, 400 pounds, and they all lost an incredible amount of weight, not only being plant-based, but they were running. And I thought, I did my first, I think it was a 3K or 5K in 2012 as part of the challenge. And I had fun doing that. So I thought, why not try a few races and see how I do? And they had their encouragement, which is what I mean about these groups. And I love your group too for the encouragement. You have this encouragement from people that to keep going and reach your goals. And by the end of the year or into the next, I was doing a half marathon, which was the most amazing experience to me. And the reason it's an amazing experience is because looking back when I was in high school, I couldn't even finish running the track. I remember the gym teacher had to, it was the end of the period, and he said it was time to go. I couldn't even finish the amount of times around the track. I wasn't that fat. I mean, I was probably a little bit overweight then, but I couldn't even, keep up with the other kids back then. And here I am running a half marathon. It was such a proud moment for me.
Wow, that's so awesome. So cool. Now, have you just ran half marathons, or have you gotten into running marathons?
Well, my goal is to do a marathon, and specifically the New York Marathon. Cool. I did get side railed a little bit because I have a knee injury, and I think I got back to running too quick because this past Friday my knees started to get swollen again, and I saw the doctor, and she told me that I probably had a small tear that led to the swollen knee, but she thinks that it's just going to heal on its own and to just maybe rest for a while longer, which is tough for me because I love to move around now. But anyway, so I do still walk, but I can't wait to get back into running, and I'm hoping we'll see how it goes that I can do the New York Marathon next year. If not, it'll be next year, but that's my goal.
Yeah, so cool. Yeah, that's a great one. I've never ran it. Has anyone ran the New York Marathon? Like great.
Yeah, I'd be curious. I'd love to hear how it went if you did. So you've done, Kayla, have you done marathons yourself? Or,
Yes.
Yeah.
I have done, let's see, three or four marathons. No, I think three.
Nice.
I think 3 marathons. I think this will be, last year was supposed to be, gotten behind now. I can't even think anymore because 2019 I was injured. 2020 COVID, so everything was, my marathon got canceled. So yeah, so I think it's been 3, but yeah, it's definitely a whole different beast. But I think if you really like that half marathon, like just running that marathon is just it's amazing. It's a great experience.
To me, it's just a goal just to say that I did a marathon. I mean, it must feel like it's an amazing thing to say, right? That you completed some. As they say, like I forgot the percentage, but it's probably like 1% of the population have done a marathon or something like that. So just to be able to say it, I think would be a dream come true for me. I'm starting to hear that noise again. I hope it's not breaking up. I'll let you adjust. Let me see if I can read some comments first.
I think it's just that internet. And my phone's getting hot, maybe.
Yes.
Amy said she ran 25 marathons in 14 states.
Wow. Amazing. That is.
Going.
There was somebody when I did a 5K last year or maybe the year before. He did a race in every single town in Connecticut, which is 169 towns. So I don't know if you can hear me, but so he did a race in every single town in Connecticut, 169 towns, which is an amazing feat. I'll wait for Kayla to adjust it. I just want to make sure you can hear me okay before you...
Yeah, we can hear you. It's just a little staticky. Are you guys hearing the static again?
It seems to be gone now. It's there.
No, it goes away and it comes back.
Oh, we're doing so good. If you can hold it like that, it's good right there.
Can you guys hear us okay?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
It'll be okay.
Okay, we'll give this a try now.
Oh, the static's still there.
Okay, let me read some comments in the meantime.
Shoot.
Yeah, somebody asked if I'm going for the 50. Well, I want to get through the marathon first. Maybe I'll consider an ultra marathon, but different goals, different stages. But
yeah, so cool.
Okay, that's better now.
Does anyone have questions?
Now you're breaking up again.
Oh, we have a question here. Oh, are we breaking up?
Hey, I was wondering, are your changes, are they done now? Do you monitor your stuff daily? Do you keep on yourself daily? Or
you mean like weighing myself?
Done, like, with your
what do you mean, like weighing myself?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you're breaking up.
Oh, we're breaking up.
Yeah.
I was wondering if
I wish I could hear you.
Oh no! Sorry. Shoot. I know. I wonder if it's my phone. My phone is overhearing.
Well, I'll try to answer the part I think they asked. I don't weigh myself much now. I've been routine for 8 years now. I have what I eat down to a science now. I'm just enjoying the food. I eat basically the same kind of foods every day. It's a wide variety, but the same kinds of foods. And I don't have to worry about what I eat. I used to use my fitness panel. I no longer need that. Any online tracker I don't need because I know the way I eat is not going to get me fat anymore.
Awesome. Cool. So sounds like you eat more mindfully then, right? You said you don't use my fitness pal anymore.
Yeah. I just
have a variety of foods.
Yeah. If it's a vegetable or a fruit, basically I eat it. And I eat. I think it's a pretty good variety of food, which I think every plant-based person should do. Is, make sure you get a variety of foods. I think that's critical. That way you get all the nutrients you need, and that's my recommendation.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Yeah, as long as you're eating a variety of foods, you should be able to get really all your nutrients in them without really lacking.
Yeah, the only thing I take is
vitamin D and B12.
Yeah, that's what I take is D3 and B12.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Cool. Cool. So cool. Now tell us a little bit. Yeah, tell us about your book.
Yeah. This it took me about 2 years to write. I couldn't believe it took me that long. I was looking at the date I started. It was December 2018. I looked at the creation date of the document. And the one, if you want to say if there's anything good about COVID, which I don't think there is, but the one thing is I found a little more time to write my book. So I was able to get that done. And the reason I wrote the book is because so many people ask how I lost the weight. And instead of just always, telling people, I now have to refer them to my book. So hopefully people can hear me. Anyway, the book has been well received so far, and Chef AJ had me on recently to promote my book, which was awesome talking with her. And it just goes into why I became plant-based and why I became vegan, and the difference between the two, and why I became a runner as well. And I also got into, I spoke earlier about my loose skin, how I had the loose skin when I became vegan in 2016. The loose skin became such a problem that I ended up having an abdominoplasty. I told myself after 5 years that the skin wouldn't tighten, that I would finally do that. And it's a decision I never regretted because when I was running, I would hear this flapping sound in my stomach, and I thought it was very embarrassing. So one thing that I did do a lot of soul searching to do it though, because here I lost the weight without any surgery, and I almost felt like I was cheating, but I did do everything I could to tighten the skin, and nothing was working. So, but anyway, that's in the book as well.
Sure. Cool. That's really cool. Now, where can they find your book?
Yeah, it's on Amazon. It's on Amazon. If you search for a plant-based journey to health, you should find it. But yeah, it's a self-published book. Yeah, I do paperback and ebook, and there's also eventually it'll be on Audible as well, but it takes them a while to approve it. So
yeah, so cool.
Awesome. It was quite a process writing a book, though. I never did it before. It was
how long did it take you?
A long process. 2 years.
2 years. Wow.
Yeah. But being a design background, I was able to do the cover myself, and I laid out the book myself, so those skills helped me anyway.
Yeah. So cool. So awesome. Awesome. Just gonna check the comments here. Are there any questions that I missed that we had?
I love
don't
hearing
think
these
so.
stories. Love hearing these stories, man.
It's
Yeah.
so inspiring. Yes, absolutely. So cool. All right. Does anyone have any questions for Rich while he's here? I have a question for you before I let you go.
Sure.
What is my last question here? What would be a piece of advice that, I guess, the one piece of advice you would give somebody that's just transitioning to a plant-based diet, and they're kind of where you were before?
Yeah.
What's the biggest number one, I guess, advice or something you would tell somebody?
Make sure you go at your own speed. If somebody can go cold turkey, that's fine, and I think that's awesome if they can. But if you're not the type of person who can, then do it the way I did and eliminate it food by food. Just you could do your own thing, but you find what works for you. But it is well worth it. And I would hate for somebody to give up just because they went too fast into it, because there are different approaches to going into it, and just don't give up. So if you find it too overwhelming, maybe you did everything at once, then go back a little and make smaller changes. But with the eventual goal to be 100% plant-based. But don't overwhelm yourself with the goal. Just see how well you feel after a couple of weeks, and then it'll get easier, to eliminate more and more food. I also think just to go along with that advice is to do some challenges. If there's a vegan challenge around, like I'm doing a Veganuary challenge for some friends, do a couple challenges. It changed my life. I did a wellness challenge, like I said earlier, in my local Y, and those challenges really get you motivated to change.
Yeah, awesome. I love that advice. That is really great advice. Absolutely. Go your own speed. It's okay. It's your journey, right? It's okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to go cold turkey.
And they also have to keep in mind that failures will happen. I know some people, feel so bad that they, failed once or twice. But if I just gave up then, I wouldn't be where I am now. You got to just keep going and don't dwell on the failures.
Absolutely. That's the part of the learning process, right?
It is.
Those failures.
Yeah, it is.
It's really part of the process.
Like for me, for example, since I became an ethical vegan, I was having a certain kind of D3. And then I heard somebody say, well, some D3 isn't vegan. So I was reading the capsule, and sure enough, it said vegetarian. So it was something in the capsule wasn't completely vegan. Mm-hmm. So now I search out for the vegan D3. I still consider myself a vegan then, even though that was a failure on my part. That was ignorance on my part. But that's what I mean. Different failures along the way. It'd be really sad if you just gave up just because of the failures.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's about the progress, right? Not
exactly.
The perfection, right?
Exactly.
It's a learning process, and
exactly.
Yeah.
Can you ask how long were you vegan?
I have been vegan about the last 5 years, but same kind of thing. I probably haven't been the best strict or as perfect all the time, but for the most part, about 5
years. It's a learning curve. Yeah, I'm sure you agree. Yeah,
it is. It really is a learning curve. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, awesome. Yes, great advice. Absolutely. Yeah, amazing journey. Someone said, congrats on your book.
Well, thank you. If anybody wants to check it out, like I said, it's on Amazon. So.
Yeah, we can definitely put the link here as well for others to check it out. Awesome. Anything else you'd like to share with everybody?
No, just I hoping my knee heals quick. That's the big thing. So I'm dying to get back into running, and I'll be looking for the community again, your group, to get me back into running when I'm ready again.
Yeah. So awesome. Yes, I'm so glad to have you a part of this group, and so glad I met you, and so grateful that we were able to do this interview.
Yeah, so keep up the great work too. And, I'm
Thank
looking
you.
forward to
Thank
the
you so
other interviews.
much.
Yeah,
Thank
I know
you.
I know the other people too that you're going to interview. So it'll be interesting to hear their stories.
Yes,
I
yes,
can't wait for it.
I have a couple more people I'll be interviewing here this week.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. Amy said thank you. Awesome. So cool. Thank you everyone for joining. I apologize for our technical difficulties, but hopefully you guys got our main message today. And please thank Richard for coming on with me today, and hope everyone has a wonderful rest of your day. If you guys have any questions as well, you can just post them here and I can always send them to Richard as well.
Yeah, I'll be happy to answer later on too.
Great.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.